Imagine you're walking through a field and find a watch lying on the ground. What would your first thought be? Would you think that random factors over time just happened to form a spring with no purpose, that inadvertently came across a cog that was formed with no purpose, and then they were joined accidentally to a number of other gears, springs, and cogs, eventually forming a fully functioning and accurate instrument that could measure time? Of course not. You would assume someone had made it. This is because of its obvious design features. The precision and intentionality of the mechanism are clear signs of purpose, of a plan. There must have been an intelligent agent who conceived of the watch and its workings and then created the watch. This analogy, which is often used to illustrate the argument from design, tries to show that when we observe nature, whether on a tiny level, like cells or proteins, or on a grand scale, like whole organisms or even the universe, we can see precision and intentionality. And from that observation, we can infer there must be an intelligence behind it all with a purpose and a plan. Just as fingerprints are the product of fingers touching something, intentionality and purpose are the products of a mind acting, not chance. When we use design to argue for the existence of God, we're making a teleological argument. Telos is a Greek word meaning purpose or ultimate end. Thus, teleology is the study of a thing's purpose or design. The design argument has been made as far back as Plato and Aristotle and is one of Thomas Aquinas' 5 ways of proving the existence of God. But in 1802, William Paley made what is probably the most famous version of the argument, which included the watchmaker illustration. In recent years, the teleological argument has become known as intelligent design, or ID. People like Michael Behe, Philip Johnson, William Dembski, and Hugh Ross have used the latest scientific discoveries and advances to cast the design argument in the most contemporary terms. There are a variety of ways the design argument has been used to argue for the existence of God. We'll look at 3 examples of these arguments: the fine-tuning of the universe, the nature of information, and irreducible complexity. Scientists have come to understand the universe as having a great deal of precision. In fact, the degree of precision is so great that to alter many of the parameters, even minutely, would destroy life as we know it. This precision leads some scientists to make an argument based on order that the universe was actually designed to accommodate life. Also called fine-tuning, the anthropic principle uses 2 classes of parameters to make a design argument. One set for the features of the universe, the other for the features of our sun-planet-moon system. In his book, The Creator and the Cosmos, Hugh Ross lists parameters that must fall within a very narrow range in order to make life possible. The list includes things like the average distance between stars, the strong and weak nuclear force constants, and the velocity of light. What would happen if any one parameter fell outside its narrow, life-friendly range? Take the expansion rate of the universe as an example. If the expansion rate was faster than 1 part in 10 to the 55th power, galaxies could not have formed. If the expansion rate was slower than 1 part in 10 to the 55th power, the universe would collapse before galaxies had a chance to form. Without galaxies, stars would not form. Without stars, planets could not form. And without planets, there could be no life. The extraordinary balance and precision exhibited by each of the above parameters demonstrates an order that chance and randomness cannot account for. This order points to an orderer, a designer of the universe. The second set of parameters have to do with our sun-planet-moon system. These parameters include things like, if the gravity on the surface of the Earth was stronger, the atmosphere would retain too much ammonia and methane, which are poisonous. But if the gravity was weaker, the atmosphere would lose too much water. If the length of a day was greater, the temperature differences would be too great to sustain life. But if the day was shorter, the atmospheric wind velocities would be too great to survive. Again, each of the parameters in Ross's list cannot vary by more than an extremely small amount without damaging the Earth's ability to support life. But is this nothing more than an egocentric view of the universe? Just because humans happen to require the universe to have these parameters in order to live doesn't mean it was made with us in mind, does it? Not necessarily. But think about the watch we found in the woods. The design and precision was not for its own sake. There was a purpose to it, to keep time. The universe is far more complicated than a watch and displays far more design and precision. It's hard to see why such design and precision should be seen as purposeless and life as accidental. Given the uniqueness of Earth, it seems far more plausible to see life in general and human life in particular as the purpose of this design and precision. But what if there's life elsewhere in the universe? First, we have no evidence whatsoever of life of any kind anywhere else in the universe. In fact, rather than being an average planet, astronomers are beginning to recognize just how rare the Earth is. Second, if there was life elsewhere, it would bolster, not detract from the view that the purpose of the design and precision of the universe is to sustain life. And third, even if we did find life elsewhere in the universe, it wouldn't change anything about the nature of human beings or the truthfulness of Christianity. We'd still be sinners in need of salvation. In addition to design and the precision of the universe, the existence and nature of information in the universe can be used to show the existence of God. To understand this form of the argument, we must first understand the different kinds of order. Specified order is simply a string of repeating information. Cat, 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 for example. This is a natural occurring kind of order and can be found in things like crystals, nylon, or snowflakes. Unspecified complexities are non-repetitive and random. They are also naturally occurring. Things like the sound of howling wind and the shape of a rock are good examples. Specified complexities are non-repetitive and non-random. They are not naturally occurring. They're the product of design. In contrast to the howling wind and the shape of a rock, examples of specified complexities would be music or a statue. Even the sentence you are hearing right now is an example of a specifically complex order. The way we recognize a specified complexity is by its contingency. According to William Dembski, one of the most prominent figures in the ID movement, contingency is the chief characteristic of information. A rock's shape is determined by the laws of nature that are brought to bear on it by its circumstances. There are no other possibilities for its shape, given its nature and its circumstance. However, a statue's shape is contingent on the purpose of an intelligent being, a sculptor. The sculpture could take any number of forms and therefore is not determined, but contingent on the purpose of its designer. If you were asked whether or not there was any information on this screen, what would your answer be? If you answered no, then you are correct. There is no information on this or any other computer screen in the world. The only things on this screen are different colored, specifically ordered pixels. In fact, you could have exhaustive knowledge about computers and the technology behind screen displays, but still not know what was said on the screen. If there was information on the screen, then we would never have to learn how to read. The information would just fly off the screen and impose itself onto our minds whenever we looked at it.